one of the unique things about having a big transaction, I talk about this a lot on my show because I interview a lot of people who have had, big deals. Either they're an investor, an entrepreneur, they've had these big game-changing moments. And so I want to ask you, because I have my theory and I've also had my experience with this. In the moment of seeing these digits show up in your bank account, I mean, it's got to feel really cool. It's got to feel cool in that moment. It's got to feel cool for, a weekend, a week, a month. Right. But when does it just stop? When is it like, okay, what's next? Because that has to happen at some point.
I love that you asked that question because honestly, so the exit happened almost 3 years ago. And, I can honestly say for the 12 to 18 months after the exit, it was the hardest time of my life. Just straight up, right? Not from a money standpoint, but sort of also. I just told this the other day to somebody. I'll share it with you. I mean, and then I'll come back to that particular question and give some specifics of when that wire actually did come through. And you're absolutely right. It was a feeling. It was probably the most proud feeling I've had, and there was definitely that like, oh my gosh. And just like you kind of alluded to, that feeling went away pretty fast. And then for those 12 to 18 months to follow, it was more of a feeling of going through like, what is next? And that's very vague. So that's why I sort of answer that slowly, because it took me a while to kind of figure out what the hell's wrong. Right. And essentially at a high level, what I figured out after time on my own was it wasn't that I was upset or sad that I lost my baby, the business, I got paid nicely for it. It was good. There was zero regrets there. But even though it wasn't part of the employment, even though there was no contractual requirement of the deal that I had to work with the company, I did have an employment contract. They were paying me nicely. And I was doing that because I wanted to still contribute to the larger roll-up enterprise. It was a private equity kind of deal. We're actively wanting to grow this to then have a second bite of the apple, another exit. And instantly I kind of realized, oh crap, I'm now doing everything that I hated and everything that I despised, and left corporate America to become an entrepreneur, right? I'm now part of, and it wasn't even a matter of pride of like, I want to be my own boss and I can only thrive in that aspect. But so it wasn't a like power trip thing. It was more of I lost all, I guess, ability of influence. I lost all challenge, even not all, but most of the challenge. In short, I realized that a lot of the money was great, but you very quickly, when you have a nice business, you really quickly get to the point that like you're making enough money. And for me, once I was getting over $100,000 a month, it was kind of just like, cool, that was a hell of a milestone. And the rest is just going in the bank to then go and invest or make more, right? And put it to work. So I realized after selling the company that how much I valued the personal challenge aspect and the personal satisfaction of literally just waking up every day with having something to put my energy into to make it incrementally better. And when I went back into corporate America, even though it was my own company, including ownership in the broader enterprise, but now we had all this political stuff, 80 people teams, I quickly, was getting very soured. And, I'll very quickly let you know, though, back to the highlight of getting the actual money. And we have mutual friends. We don't know each other too well, but I think you have known me enough to tell I'm a pretty simple guy. I'm wearing a t-shirt. It's one of my favorite t-shirts I've had for in my drawer for 5 years. But so people are like, what did you do to celebrate? Well, we went down the street to our favorite Mexican restaurant, my wife, Nicole, myself. And at the time we only had one daughter, then little Lacey. So Lacey, we went out there for lunch. And after lunch, it was sort of in this like nice little mall area with some shops. We went to the shops. And I remember my wife, Nicole, saying, one day I'm going to go over to that store and I want to buy some nice jeans there. It was this store called Madewell. I had no idea I'm like, what the hell do they do? Well, they make nice jeans. you know what, let's go over there today. And we were in the shop and she was trying some on. I said, go ahead, fix them out, you know? And instead of I told her to get a couple, 2-3 pairs. She just wanted one pair. They were like $110 jeans or whatever. And I said, go for it. In that store, you know, I knew the wire was coming any minute. I sort of refresh. All of a sudden, there it was. And it was a very high 7 figures cash, just boom, right there. And that felt great. So